Bridges are stronger when built from both sides.
Let's connect.
Let's connect. In the middle.
Hello, and welcome to Building Bridges, a brand new show on the Greensboro Television Network that highlights ways members of the public and members of the police department can work together and connect with each other. I'm your host, Sandra Hughes, and I'm very excited to be a part of a program that brings together our community and police department so we can work towards the same community goals. Each month on this show, we will feature officers and people just like you at home who have worked together to learn more about each other and to make our city safer. When you think about it, the phrase building bridges really sums it up, that approach that the GPD is taking towards fighting crime and community relations. It symbolizes everyone reaching out to each other, working together, and meeting in the middle to solve problems. Because as Chief Scott said, building bridges are from both sides. We'll kick off our series by introducing two members of GPD's Office of Community Engagement, Captain Trey Davis and Ms. Jenny Cavanis, who will describe their role in creating opportunities for people to connect with the police. And later, we'll talk to two people who've gotten to know the PD through several of its programs. Trey and Jenny, very nice to have you. Welcome to our first episode of Building Bridges. How do you like that name, Trey?
Well, I think it's an awesome name. The Chief Scott's philosophy of building bridges is a great way for us to step into how we can better build trust in our community. And as Ms. Cavanis and I are here today for this first show, we're here to explain what the new Office of Community Engagement does for the police department. At the end of the year, we held a series of 6 meetings in which we went into the community, into all demographics of the community. We invited the community out just to listen to how they feel we're serving them as a police department. And what the Office of Community Engagement does is we allow the community to come tell us how they want us to serve them as a police department. How can we better serve? And what they feel that we need to do more of, and how we need to communicate with the community better. The main thing that we gained from those meetings and the interactions with the community was trust, and how can we build better trust with our community. Ms. Cavanis is a new addition to the police department, and we are really excited for her to be here. There are a number of programs that we have been doing in the past with the community engagement or our community relations office, and we'll continue to do those things. We'll continue to capitalize on the great work that our police department has done previously. And so Ms. Cavanis is here. She's going to talk a little bit about some of those things as well.
Good. I mean, it sounds like he's already said you're excited about it, right?
I'm very excited about it. It is exciting to come into a department with a time when you have a new chief and he is really interested in working with his community and really seeing how we can better our relationships. And they've done such an outstanding job so far, but as he always says, it's always exciting to continue to move forward when there's an opportunity.
So did you see something different before?
When the office was created, I think it was just really created out of a vision that the chief had just to better engage. I mean, the police department's already doing an outstanding job, and now we can really reach into the community and say what else is needed, what else can we do, and how can we better serve.
So how are you being received by the community?
Actually, I feel as though the community is receiving us very well, and we are very open to dialogue, and there's all kinds of dialogue going on in the community, and things that go on nationally can shape all kinds of conversations, and it's actually exciting to be able to have some conversations and what policing looks like here, and how can we bring our residents, and what is their role in policing. That's really what community engagement is how can we better engage you in what policing looks like.
So what does it take to convince the community that you really want to connect with them, that you want to build those bridges?
Well, Ms. Hughes, that's a great question. And most people would be tempted to give a very long answer. But the thing that we learned from the Office of Community Engagement, Ms. Cavanis and I, in these meetings that we held, is listen. And the community wants to be heard. And there's no secret that there are frustrations about different perceptions that are driven by national conversations as well as local conversations. But our community that we serve as a police department, they want to be heard. And we found in each meeting that after people expressed themselves and whatever frustrations they may have, a lot of times it was miscommunication, a misunderstanding about police policies and police procedures, or different things that the police department may have, or even accessibility to the police department and knowledge and information about what we're doing, what's going on with the police department, how are investigations done, how can people express themselves if they have concern about police actions or police interactions. And so just in that, we're able to learn by listening. And I think as we move forward, as we build bridges with the community, it's about listening. Communication is both ways, just like building bridges is. It takes two sides of that, and communication takes two sides as well. And so we're really committed. I remember when we went into Ms. Cavaness and I went into the meetings, I would introduce the meetings and explain to the group, I hope you're not here to listen to me give a long speech.
Yes.
Because we really wanted to listen. And it went a long way with a lot of people. We had a lot of comments. We built a lot of good relationships because people expressed themselves and told us that this was one of the first times that they've ever really been given a platform where they could truly express themselves in a safe environment and tell the police department how they felt. And so we just appreciate our community participating in those meetings and participating in our invitation to invite them to communicate with us.
As I grew up in Greensboro, which has been a very long time, you had one side police, one side community. How do you convince people that it's okay to access the police department for something other than an arrest, say?
That's a great question, because part of engagement is really providing those opportunities. For instance, volunteerism is a great gateway to connect. So how can you volunteer with your police department? And the community actually was one of our best information and idea banks that we got. They really said, well, we're willing to help you pass out flyers to help you better communicate. We're willing to help look at your websites and figure out how to get information to people. Volunteerism is a great engagement tool, and our community is very ready to help volunteer, and we're very ready to help them there. Internships, it's just another area where, again, it's engagement, and interns from all across everywhere, not just police interns, but we need interns to help with photography, and we need interns to help with programs in the community. And then programming is another great way. What you'll discover is that there are services that people just really need, and they don't know where to go to get them. And so the police department is really trying to make efforts in connecting people to resources that already exist. And if there's a gap, we try to figure out how to fill it with partnerships.
I see. On the news these days, we hear a lot of negative about the community and police. I mean, you've seen it in the last couple of years. How do you get past that?
Well, one way that you do that is being transparent as a police department. The community, one way we can build trust is to show the community that we're transparent and that we're open about what we can talk with them about and what we can explain about and what our policies are, what our procedures are on certain matters in certain situations. And as we build the trust and build the bridge between the police and the community, that transparency is going to be key, especially in a time of immediate, right now media that we have, social media, different media outlets, in whatever form it is, drives a great deal of the perception. And so we as a police department are committed to being proactive in those areas. We have a Facebook page, we have Twitter, and we also do a number of proactive events in which we publicize them by way of media outlets. And so in that, I hope that the community will see that we as a police department are committed to being more transparent.
How do people get in touch with you? Let's just say I'm having an event at my child's school, grandchild's school. How do I say, let's invite the police department to be a part of this fair or this program? How do I do that?
Well, there's multiple ways. You can easily just pick up the phone and call 373-CITY, and they will connect you with the Community Relations or the Office of Community Engagement. And that's, not everyone has access to computers and internet, and so that's a great way. That's a great tool. Again, there's our forums online, and there's ways to connect with us via the internet and via the web. Social media is very effective. If you put in a request on Facebook or make a post, we have someone that actually follows right up and says, let me try to help you. Seeing an officer, a lot of our connections, which I know may not be easy to believe, take place when I saw an officer, they were in my community, I asked them a question, and this is what I got. There's multiple ways to do that.
So do you want people to do it that way?
Yes, because it's about them. It's not about us. It's how we can connect with them. And one thing that we heard in our meetings is it really needs to be just kind of open to anything. And so any way that people need to connect with us, we can do that.
For example?
Well, for example, one of the ways that anytime you have something new, in whether it's a police department, a business, any entity, you want to know how effective is the idea that we have. And one of the things that Chief Scott and Jenny and myself were brainstorming about, okay, how can we measure if this new office is going to be effective? And one of the small things that we discovered and we came up with was when people start inviting us into their environments, when people start inviting us to their meetings, then we'll know we're successful. And we were very delighted, but also we're very surprised as well, because we had those meetings in December, and we're inundated now with people inviting us into their environments. And so we're delighted, we're excited. We may be a little bit overworked, but at the same time, that's a great measure and an example. I think in a couple of weeks, Jenny's going to be speaking with the Women's League of Voters. In another couple of weeks, I'll be doing a couple of events. Some of our officers are also partnering with some of the local businesses who found out about what we're doing in our community engagement campaign by way of the meetings. And so it's just a great success, and just a number of examples of how the community has invited us into their environment.
So how long have you been doing this project?
Well, I've actually been working with the police department since November, but I've been in government doing this kind of work, whether it was youth volunteerism, youth engagement with adults, for about 17 years.
Wow.
So I have some experience on how to bring people in and
so you've seen both sides.
I've seen both sides, yes. It's very exciting to be part of an initiative, as you know, that it's going to be impactful and it's going to mean something, and that Greensboro, I think, I think they're ready, and I think that they're very open to having some dialogue and seeing what we can do to work together. That's an exciting thing.
It is an exciting thing. Do you have anything coming up that you want to share with us?
Well, one thing that we're looking at, as Trey said, is right now we are definitely going out to the community, and the community is inviting us into their spaces. And so eventually we will go back to the community because we've collected a lot of data, and we made some really great relationships. And so we need to go back to the community and say, this is what we found, this is where we want to go, and we need your help to get there. So right now we're trying to figure out how to make all those puzzle pieces work. We were given a lot of information, and we need to do some internal things first. So eventually we'll go back out to the community, but right now we've got a Citizens Academy going on, where we've got almost 30 people going through an academy to learn all about what it's like to be a police officer. After that, we've got Police Memorial Week, which is where obviously we honor our police department. And then you'll see National Night Out is coming in August, and then Operation Pass, where officers really have made an effort to ensure our children have got school supplies to go back to school. And so those are just some things that are coming up.
And those are the things I don't naturally think about for police. I think you're coming to arrest me. That's what a lot of people think, honestly. So what's been one of the most exciting things you've done that did not involve law enforcement?
One of the most exciting things that I've done as a police officer is Operation Yuletide, which is one of the anchor programs that we continue to have at the police department that we'll go into. We'll speak later with one of our volunteers who was very instrumental in the success of that program. But Operation Yuletide is a time that police officers give their time to having volunteerism and giving gifts to people who are less fortunate in the community. And the people that we serve are come to us or come to the community engagement office by way of referrals from officers who make contact with people in our community, in the very community that they serve. And they see those people who are less fortunate around the holiday season, when people who are not in situations that they are strained or their finances are strained. They may not think of the scenarios that some people have to face, but our police officers really step up, and they take that time to really give their time and their services.
And you wear your uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't need to fear?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
A lot of people would, though, but that's great. I think what you're doing is a wonderful idea. And when it comes to building bridges, what better way than to bring everybody together and say, we all live in this one community, and we need to do what we need to do. Trey, thank you very much.
Ma'am.
Jenny, Thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate that today on Building Bridges. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break right now, and when we come back, we're going to find out more about what's happening in the Greensboro Police Department that will get you involved with what they do. Stay with us. Welcome back to Building Bridges. This is a brand new show on the Greensboro Television Network that shows us how we can connect the Greensboro Police Department to the community so that we can all be on the same page. Seated across from me now is Susan Nasman, who is a graduate of the 2013 Greensboro Police Citizens Academy, and she's also president of the Alumni Association and a volunteer. Wow. You have your hands full, don't you?
I do.
And I'm still joined by Captain Trey Davis, who is with me right now. Is that right? Davis,
Yes.
that's right. Sometimes I get names all turned around, but that's okay. Glad you're still here.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to hear about what you're doing.
I joined the Citizens Academy in 2013. I wanted to know more about what the police department did, how they were hired, the legalities, the ethics, the process. I mean, the process that these young men and women go through to be hired is amazing. And I got to see that firsthand on the obstacle course. I couldn't even lift the 50-pound dummy's arm, but it was awesome. But I got a bird's eye view from multiple departments throughout the Greensboro Police Department, and they talked about everything. And we were offered opportunities to ride along, to see it firsthand, to see what they encounter. You hear all the bad things on the news, but we don't
Sure.
always see the good things that our officers are doing in the field.
But what made you want to find out more about them?
I used to be in the county, and when the city took over my neighborhood, I then became a city resident, and I wanted to know about the police department as opposed to the sheriff's department. I needed to know how it was organized, what they did, what was their response time if I ever needed them. You know, how would they respond? What should I expect? And it was just an opportunity for me, and I had taken the course for a gun weapon, and I felt like, I felt like I needed to be a little more informed about the rights of me as a citizen, as well as what I would do or what would be done if in the event that I was maybe caught up in a situation. And this informed me.
And obviously, Trey, your department oversees the department that she's talking about. Tell me about that.
Yes, ma'am. As Ms. Cavanagh spoke earlier in the previous segment, there are a number of anchor programs that we continue to oversee with the community engagement office, and one of them is volunteerism. With all the things that we have going on in the police department, volunteerism, some of our programs like the Citizens Academy, which Ms. Nazem has graduated from, is important. And you know, as we spoke earlier, we talked about transparency, we talked about trust. What better way to build trust and be transparent than to invite the community in to see what we do, how we train, what our policies are, what our procedures are. Ms. Nazem gave a great snapshot, a great description of what the Police Citizens Academy will show our citizens that we serve. And they'll have a better understanding of what police procedures are. What happens when an officer stops someone in a vehicle stop? What happens when an officer responds to a call for service at your residence? What happens when an officer has to do an investigation with a situation? And so those things only help to foster and build an atmosphere of trust and transparency.
Now, you talked about lifting 50 pounds. Name some of the other activities you went through in that academy.
We got to actually go through the shooting range, and we were in a situation where they had the simulator, and we got to yell out like an officer would if they were entering into a business or a home and they were trying to perhaps find out if there was an imminent threat or not. I actually was killed
Oh, no.
in the simulator. I know, go figure.
She's back.
I know. But you know, it's really fun because we don't realize, as just a layperson in the field, we have no idea what these men and women go through. On the spot, instantaneous decisions have to be made. Who are we to judge? We're not there. But that really was an eye-opener for me because, like I said, I was killed in the simulator.
Good grief.
So I know, but you know, it's 6 months in the academy, and it's fun. You ask questions, multiple questions, and there's a diverse group of people that get to go through, and so the questions that we hear and we get answers to, I may not have even thought about asking that question, but someone else in another neighborhood that perhaps was in a different area in Greensboro may have that I wouldn't have even thought about.
I took Leadership Greensboro, and we went through a session somewhat like yours, and they took the gun from me before I killed somebody or myself. So I'm not going to do that again anytime soon. What are the basic things you're trying to teach them? I mean, name some activities that you want them to know about.
Well, let me set it up this way. One of the things that we want to achieve is a better understanding of how our police department operates and how we serve the community. And so in that, there are a number of different things, as we talked about earlier, that are driving the perception of police in this country. And we know that we are a good-sized police department and a very progressive city. And so we have to make sure that our citizens have the right perception. And so as we invite people in to see and hear how police operate and what the day-to-day, what are the day-to-day actions, or what are the day-to-day, what do officers do when they're on the beat? What do officers do when they're in the car? You know, why do officers make decisions? Why do we patrol here versus there? Why do we just make decisions to stop vehicles? Why do we make decisions to make arrests? Why do we make decisions to do investigations? And so all of that allows the citizens to become intimate with what their police department is doing, how we do things.
Did you find anything that you had a misconception about?
Actually, I really wasn't clear about the hiring process and the number of hours that these young men and women train to become an officer for the Greensboro Police Department. The testing, I'm not just sitting in a classroom day to day, in and out. And I was a corporate trainer for banks for several years, so I know what it's like to sit in a seat all day. And these young people are sitting there listening to the ethics and the legalities and what you should and shouldn't do, how to do this, the procedures and everything that's involved in becoming an officer. So I was really impressed with the hiring, and I am so proud that we have that in place and that we do get the caliber of individuals that do apply.
Do some officers or some people not make it?
There always is a few people that may not make it through, but we allow people that come into our process the best opportunity. We try to make sure that we train them. We have a tremendous training staff who's committed to helping and building up young people as they come through, or whatever age they may be, to ensure that they have the best opportunity to be successful.
So what are the ages when you want to become a police officer?
There's no age limit.
Really?
And so, yes, matter of fact, we can have you come through.
You don't know how old I am, do you?
It doesn't matter. But no, we average, a younger age, a mid-20s is probably the average for our academy goers. But we have had people who are have sought second careers later in life, and so we encourage everyone to, if you are an applicant, to come out, and even with the Police Citizens Academy, we encourage people to come and take part. Ms. Nazem said it may be tough, but she made it through it, and so.
Did she kill herself or
yes.
something? Someone killed you.
Somebody killed me, but that was still a great simulator, and it was an eye opener. So I encourage anyone that would like to attend the Citizens Academy to please do so. They open those up. You can go to the Greensboro Police Department's website, or usually in the fall they have something in the News and Records so that you can apply. And those applications are looked at, and they try to bring in a diverse group of individuals so that, again, we have the right questions and the right people. But If you have questions about the police department, you really need to go through that because it is wonderful. It's
How
the
long
best
does
thing.
it take?
6 months, from
Wow.
February until August, every other week. And you wouldn't think that it would be that engaging, but honestly, it's only 2 hours every 2 weeks, but I wanted more. We all wanted more, and some of my class were willing to stay over and after the fact. And the CSI, oh, that's awesome. You know, they show us things that you see on TV, but you don't know if it's real or not. So you say, well, now on TV they do this. And they're very quick to say, well, things aren't always what they seem.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask Trey. You know, we watch shows on TV all the time, and so I'm just wondering how much of that is true and how much is just drama.
Well, things are quite different in reality. There can be moments of excitement, such as the TV drama depicts. However, what people discover, as Ms. Nazem has described, is that there's a lot of patience and there's a lot of detail that goes into police work. And our young officers put a lot of effort, and they are excellent officers. We have some very intelligent officers who put a lot of time and a lot of dedication into their work. And so it might not happen like it does on TV. By the end of the hour, the criminal may not be captured, but we have a number of different, as she described, our CSI unit is our crime scene investigators. And they're non-sworn staff or members of the police department. However, they do a tremendous job at allowing us to be successful in our investigations. And so that gives the citizens a snapshot at the different components of our police department, as well as our investigators. So,
Well, you know, you watch one of those dramas on TV and you're exhausted when it's over with all the running and shooting and fighting, and not necessarily, huh?
no, not necessarily.
Okay. So what is it that you do in particular in the police department?
I am the commanding officer of the Office of Community Engagement, as well as the executive officer to the chief of police. Along with those duties, I manage some of the scheduling and the meetings that the chief of police may have. And for the Office of Community Engagement, we oversee our anchor programs and some of the things that we described before, fostering atmospheres of meetings so that we can better engage with our community, as well as overseeing different aspects or different opportunities with the police department, like our volunteers services. And so we're big on volunteerism. Sometimes people may not think of that aspect, and they may think, well, how can I help the police department? I can't arrest anybody.
Right.
But
I can't fight.
There are so many different aspects to the police department. Ms. Nazem is huge. She's one of our biggest volunteers in the police department. She was a tremendous help for us this year with our Operation Yuletide. I'll let her talk a little bit about her experience there.
Please do.
Operation Yuletide is an annual event, and it is absolutely heartwarming when you get to participate. Our police officers go out with their cruisers around Greensboro at various locations, and we hand out, and volunteers do this as well, hand out flyers, and we ask individuals who are going into that store to please help fill the cruisers. And we call that the Fill the Cruisers, but it's Operation Yuletide. We bring those items back to one of our locations, and I lovingly get to put everything away in categories, you know, for children, babies, adults, household items, things that we know that people need. The officers have nominated these families based on their perception, their needs when they are calling in those neighborhoods. So the officer gets to have their hands involved in that as well. And then on the date that we deliver those gifts, which typically is the Saturday before Christmas, we not only have these boxes that our volunteers and some of the officers have shopped. We call it shopping because Costco has given us shopping carts, and we go around with our list.
That's wonderful.
We pile everything in there, and we have other people that come in and they wrap for us. So we have gift wrapping with beautiful music and food, and it's a wonderful event. But then the day of the delivery, we have food that's donated. So that food is delivered, and you have turkeys or hams and all the boxed food. Niece does sausage. We just are full of good holiday cheer. And it's pleasing to be able to give back. And I love that. That's my biggest project that I have taken on pretty much as my baby. I love it. So, but it's not just that. Operation Pass to help young people when they get ready to go back to school. We have events to help battered women, the 5K run. So there's so many ways that people in this community can give back, and all we need is their time.
So how do I call you and say, I want to volunteer? I want to be a part of the Christmas giveaway.
Again, Captain Davis's department, as he and Ms. Cavanis have mentioned, there are excellent ways to get in touch. Now, if somebody knows me personally, they know I'm going to speak about this because I'm so passionate about what I do.
Do you have plenty of volunteers now?
Never.
We always need volunteers. We always
Never.
Need. You don't want me to start wrapping gifts.
I have to speak up before he has a chance to.
Before he starts wrapping gifts.
One of the things, he doesn't want to do that. One of the things that is really important, though, as these individuals go through the Citizens Academy, Ms. Hughes, we hope that they will love what they hear so much that they are going to want to give back. So they can join us. We only meet 4 times a year. It's not like we are digging in every month. We need something, and because that's not the case. But we're a fun group. We meet at one of our locations and we bring food. We all have a happy meal. We usually have a program. We try to get what's going on. I usually am in touch with Sue Davis, who works in Captain Davis's department. And Sue keeps me informed. I'm the president of this alumni group, so we have great communications. She tells me what's going on, what her needs are, and then at that meeting, I just tell everyone. And Sue sends out the blast, and we say who can be there, and this is what we need.
It sounds absolutely wonderful.
It's great.
Something I certainly didn't know anything about. Thank you very much for joining us, Susan. It's just been wonderful with you to share your experiences with us and for all that you do for the police department and our community. Now, we've learned so much from you, and you are a wonderful example of working together so that we can start building bridges to strengthen our community. In a minute, we'll meet another community member who has gained a greater understanding of the Greensboro Police Department through her experiences as an intern. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me and Captain Trey on the set now is Anika McDonald, who is a student at NC State University. Now, Trey, many people are not aware that the Greensboro Police Department actually has interns. When did that happen?
Yes, we've had an internship program for a number of years. It is not a paid internship program, but it allows college students to get a closer look at the realities of police work. We have, you can go on our website, gsopd.org, and look, and you can make or even call to the police department, call Ms. Sue Davis, who coordinates those internships. We do have requirements. There's 150 hours that our students are required to go through, 150 hours with whatever police segment of the police department they are assigned to, as well as they go through a background check. They have to be sponsored by one of their instructors or a professor with the college or the institution that they're attending. But it's a great opportunity so that our college students can get a better view of how the police department operates.
So now tell me, how did you decide which department you wanted to intern, or did you?
Actually, no, I didn't. When I applied to become an intern here, I didn't know which section or the division that I wanted to go into. So my person that's over me, Lieutenant Kimmel, he actually told me that he would have me go around to different divisions so I can see what everyone does in the department.
That's great.
Yeah, great opportunity. I'm learning a lot. I recently worked with the evidence with Tammy, and I didn't know kind of all the divisions had different areas. So I worked with SRO, I worked with the K9s, I patrolled a few times, I worked with CSI and Tammy. So I'm getting the opportunity to experience and gain so much knowledge from every department and every division.
So we'll see you in the next TV drama on police work. So now tell me where you are right now in your internship.
Right now I am currently going into, this is my 4th week, and I've already done 60 hours. I will be working with a detective soon, so I'm really excited about that. But I'm just going around to every division.
So you don't just go to one department?
No, I do not.
Is that
I've
the
been
way it
around.
always is?
It is. Well, there may be times that some of our interns will be assigned specifically to a location or a section within the police department, but we try to allow the interns that come to us for the time slot that we have slotted for them so that they can get a well-rounded view of all the different aspects. The sworn, not just patrolling it and policing, but also the different investigative units within the police department, or also, as she described, our SRO, our school resource officers. That allows our college students to understand how our school resource officers interact with our students in the schools.
Okay. So what's your major?
Criminal justice.
Why didn't I figure that out?
Yes.
So do you have any idea yet what you want to do when you graduate?
Well, after I graduate, I'm a senior. I graduate in May. I plan to go to grad school to get my MBA. But after my MBA, I do plan to join the GPD Academy here.
Okay, meaning?
Meaning that I am going to apply, and I hope that I am offered a position here.
Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed
Yes.
for that. How many interns actually come back and want to work for you?
There are a number of our interns that have come back and applied for the police department. I'm not sure of the exact number, but I know I have supervised at least 5, and at least 3 of them have come back to apply to be police officers here with the agency.
What's different in an intern who comes back than maybe someone who just comes off the street?
Well, one, you've had an opportunity to be more familiar with the inner workings of the police department and how things work, but also it makes you it allows them to be a little bit more comfortable, and so they're familiar with the people and also the understanding of how things work, the day-to-day operations of the police department.
If I had to ask you for 3 things that you've learned by going around to the different departments, the 3 that stick out in your mind, what would that be?
3 things that stick out that I've learned. It's all about commitment and dedication. So you have to be committed to what you actually want to do. Don't just do it for other reasons. Do it because it's something that you want to do, that you love to do. Building a family, like being in this internship, like I feel like I'm a part of the GPD family. So it's about building those relationships and those connections, networking.
Okay, so when you become a police, I don't know how to say it, a police officer or work for the police department, have you decided which department you want to be in?
I have not. I finished my internship in May, so I still have opportunity to go around to different divisions and gain that knowledge. So right now, I don't actually know which way I want to go.
Oh my! Any suggestions for her?
Well, just listening to her, she has great opportunity. She has great potential to be a tremendous, part of the police department and even a leader in the police department. And so we're excited when we have our interns come and they're excited and they get involved and they get engaged. It's really great to hear her say that she feels like she's part of the GPD family.
That is.
And I think that's really good, so that our college students can see and understand that police officers are not just a group of people who go out and arrest people, but they are a family. And she also said the key thing, that it takes commitment and dedication to what you do. And so we just appreciate, what she's doing and her attentiveness to the program.
Now, in the business I worked in for many, many years, we had interns, and some were excited and engaged. Others were just sort of, I'm just here, spending my time. What time is it now? Do you ever run into that kind of situation?
Well, I've not experienced it myself. All the interns that I've supervised have been tremendously excited. They've shown up. Matter of fact, I had a few that would make it into work before me every day. And I had to tell them, don't make me look bad. But I'm sure you may have that. But most of the time, most of our interns are really excited. And they're really excited to come and see what police do and understand police work, especially when they're able to get out and ride with a police officer and see what happens and get into the action.
I had an opportunity to ride with a police officer one night. Scared me to death. That's because I'm just such a chicken person anyway. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'd love to do it again sometimes, Officer Trey. That's
Yes, ma'am.
exactly.
We can arrange that.
Okay. Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
That's a deal. Okay. This time I'm braver.
So if people see me and you coming, then they'll know.
They'll think we're doing a TV show. Yeah, I'm glad you've got the gun. I don't. But thank you both. And thank you very much for coming and representing North Carolina A&T in this program. We're very proud of what you do.
Thank you.
And so we look forward to seeing you on the street someday in a uniform like this, perhaps.
Hope so, one day.
Okay. And thank you so much. You've given us so much information about some of the ways we can build bridges between us and the community, and I really appreciate that. Well, today we have shared a few ways that public and the police can connect, from internships to Citizens Academy to ride-alongs to volunteering. GPD offers many ways for you to get to know more about the men and women who help keep us safe. We thank all of our guests for sharing their experiences with us and hope that their stories inspire you to participate in the community outreach programs you've learned about today. If you'd like more information on these community programs and others, just visit www.gsopd.org. In our next Building Bridges show, we'll introduce you to the Community Resource Officer. Now, these officers are your partners in reducing crime and making your neighborhood a more enjoyable place to live. You'll also meet some residents who have worked alongside community resource officers to solve problems and make their neighborhoods safer. Until next time, I'm Sandra Hughes. Be safe.
This show was funded in part by the Greensboro Police Foundation, an independent nonprofit organization whose mission is to enhance Greensboro's economic strength by promoting the safest city possible for its residents, workers, and visitors through support of the Greensboro Police Department. For more information about the Greensboro Police Foundation, visit www.greensboropolicefoundation.org.